We got some blockbuster NBA trade ideas on today's show. Bleacher Report had 5 crazy trades that featured big-time players going to big-time teams. And on this episode of NBA Now, I wanted to react to all of them. This is NBA Now. I am Nic Rohloff. And before we get into the first trade, I want to make sure you are subscribed to the channel because, yes, it is mid-August. Yes, the NFL is just around the corner. But we are still making sure you are covered on the latest in the NBA here at Chat Sports. We cover the league year-round. Doesn't matter when. We will have you up to date on everything going on. So hit that sub button and join the channel. You will not regret it. All right, the first trade idea from Bleacher Report. Zach LaVine, the Chicago Bull, who has been shopped around for quite a while now. It feels like the Bulls are on Facebook Marketplace trying to find the best buyer for Zach LaVine. They haven't found one. But Bleacher Report says maybe Los Angeles bites in and tries to trade for LaVine. What was their trade idea? The Lakers acquire Zach LaVine. And in quite a shocking deal, if I'm going to be honest, the Bulls receive Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jaxson Hayes. Now, the Bulls do have to get a lot of money in return from Los Angeles because Zach LaVine's contract is so large, but getting the players of Austin Reaves, Hachimura, Vanderbilt, of that type of caliber, like I'm telling you right now, if the Bulls made that deal, they would be absolutely ecstatic. And I know some Bulls fans out there might be like, well, I want draft capital for LaVine. We're not in any room to compete right now, so I need picks, not players. But a player like Austin Reaves, like that would be unbelievable to get back for LaVine due to the fact that his trade value is so in the gutter that nobody really wants him at this point. And that's kind of what the issue is with Zach LaVine and Chicago. It really does feel like LaVine is going to have to play out this season with Chicago, or at least start with the Bulls this year, to try to rehab his trade value because as we currently stand, based off his injury history, his contract situation, he still has a lot of years left at a very high price, $45+ million over the next 3.5 seasons with a player option in the final 4th year. It's going to be rough, man. And if the Bulls want to unload him to get assets and not have to attach a pick to his name to get him off their roster, it's going to require Zach LaVine to showcase that he still is the player of old and can still be a top scorer from the perimeter on a team. There are teams that could use his services. The issue is that contract, and they don't really want to make that move for LaVine due to his injury history. Predict it for me, though. Will Zach LaVine be traded in this offseason? I guess month and a half until training camp gets underway. I am going to find it hard-pressed to find a trade suitor for Zach LaVine before that begins. So I'm going to type my ends, but you let me know down in the comment section. The next one is a doozy. Kawhi Leonard heading to Golden State. Now, from a Warriors perspective, it would make sense for them to try to swing a big trade like this because they missed out on Lauri Markkanen and just didn't offer everything they could. And to me, I believe that Golden State needs to add more to this roster to help Steph Curry because he's only got a couple years left of being someone that can lead a team and being a top 10 player due to him being 36 years old. Do you really want to waste the last couple years of his good basketball on this team that really has no ceiling of an NBA championship? Well, if you acquire Kawhi Leonard, that raises your ceiling quite a bit. So here is the idea from Bleacher Report, which if I was a Warriors fan, I would jump at doing. Now, I know Kawhi's got his downsides of not being there most of the time, not being healthy. Now, he did play 70 games last season. He was healthy for the most part, and then he got hurt in the postseason like he always does. But the Clippers get Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, 2 first-round picks in 28 and 30, plus a 2029 first-round pick swap. And I like this for Golden State. They keep Kuminga. They keep Podziemski. Sure, they would lose all of their draft capital, but you keep Curry, you get Kawhi, you get Dre, and then you still have those 2 young guns waiting in the wings for the future. I think that makes a lot of sense for Golden State. But you might be asking yourself, would the Clippers even consider trading Kawhi Leonard? I actually think it's possible. Now, this article from Bleacher Report was 5 offseason trades. Now, do I think it's going to happen in the offseason? Absolutely not. They're going to go into this year with Kawhi Leonard since they are opening up that new stadium that Ballmer just paid for. But it actually makes sense roster building wise if the Clippers think to trade Kawhi Leonard because he is someone that is not going to improve his trade value, right? As he gets older and misses more games, like that trade value isn't going to get any higher than it is probably this season. And with them having so many holes on this roster, James Harden only has a 1 year left because of his free agency sign. Paul George already left. Like, Kawhi Leonard could be the last person standing here. And if a team at the trade deadline is looking to make a major splash to try to help them and fortify a championship roster, and the Clippers are, say, like the 9 or 11 seed in the West because they just really couldn't get anything going this year, and they had injuries to James Harden, like, I could see it. Like, the Clippers aren't going to be that good this year, in my opinion. So why not unload your best asset and just look towards the future? It makes a lot of sense for Kawhi to potentially be traded this year. Anfernee Simons to the Orlando Magic as the third trade idea from Bleacher Report. And I actually adore this trade just for pure scheme fit for Orlando. They need a guard to score the basketball. They added Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which was a really good addition, but they need a true guard that can score in isolation and off the dribble, because Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are the only two that can really create for that team right now. This is the trade. Anfernee Simons to Orlando. The Trailblazers get Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, and a 2025 first-round pick that is actually from Denver, also top 5 protected in this deal. We're going to break down this trade and why I like it for both sides here in just a second. But we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform and app in North America. More than 5 million people play Prize Picks every single day, and hand up, I am one of them. And you can get a first deposit match up to $100 when you go to Prize Picks. Download the app and use code CLNS. You can play in such a different type of ways. You can go to football, to basketball, to golf, to baseball, to the fighting, and combine season-long projections as well as daily projections. They also have awesome specials for all of you, like Taco Tuesdays, where they lower specific stat totals. Flex Fridays, whereas if you don't win, you can get your money back. Like, Prize Picks has it all to make playing daily fantasy fresh and fun for every single person, no matter what they like to watch. They even have e-gaming as well. Prize Picks is the absolute best, and I play it on a daily basis. So you guys can get a first deposit match up to $100 when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and input code CLNS, or just download the app today and use code CLNS to get that first deposit match up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. Run your game. Link's going to be in the description and comments of today's video. All right, let's talk about this trade a little bit more, because I actually love Anfernee Simons in Orlando. Like I mentioned, they need a guard. And just from a hypothetical standpoint, if your starting lineup in Orlando is Simons at the 1, KCP at the 2, Franz at the 3, Paolo at the 4, and insert whatever starting center you want to start over in Orlando, like, that is a really good group. And I like what Simons can bring to the table for this team. I mentioned they need someone that can score at all 3 levels and take it off the dribble. That's what Simons does when he's healthy. He has took over for Damian Lillard after getting traded to Milwaukee, and I could see Portland potentially moving off of him due to his contract, as well as wanting to get more reps on ball for Scoot Henderson, who they took in the 3rd pick of the 2023 NBA draft. You see it on screen. Simons is a flat-out scorer, 22.5 points per game last year, 38.5% from 3. He is someone who can be a flamethrower, and having him be your 3rd primary ball handler, or let me say this, not primary ball handler, but 3rd option offensively behind Franz and Paolo, but be your primary ball handler, I think fits him very, very well, and it would make sense for Orlando to get Simons. And I actually think it might be a little too much to give up from Orlando's perspective to get Simons, which is why I would love this return for the Portland Trailblazers. I am as big as a fan of Anthony Black as anyone out there, I think. I had him as my 4th player in the 2023 NBA draft. Consensus top 3 of Wemby, Miller, Scoot, and then a lot of people had Ausar Thompson, Amen Thompson right there, 4-5. I had Anthony Black. I'm a big fan of his frame, 6'6", 6'7". He's very good defensively, good playmaker, can really make good decisions with the ball in his hands. decent finisher around the rim as well. Just needs to develop a jumper. But I think that could be the case where he works alongside Scoot Henderson to be the backcourt of the future in Portland. You also get a first-round pick in Denver that will convey because it's not going to be in the top 5. And you also get Cole Anthony as a scoring guard off the bench. I think that would be very good for both sides to improve the ceiling of Orlando, but also help the youth movement in Portland. All right, let's move over to the fourth one here. Dorian Finney-Smith to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, these are probably not blockbuster trades at this point, but the Cavaliers need someone of Dorian Finney-Smith's caliber and his skill set, and I like this deal for them. In this trade from Bleacher Report, they receive DFS, and the Nets get Georges Niang, 4 second-round picks coming in 27, 28, and 29. Those are all from Cleveland, but also a 2025 second-round pick, which is coming actually from the Milwaukee Bucks. And when you think of the Cavs roster construction, they need a connecting wing to match with their front court and their back court. At least as things currently stand, they still have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell in their backcourt. 2 really good guards that can score the basketball and handle the rock, but not really good defenders. You have a great 4 in Evan Mobley in terms of defense. Now, he does need to improve his offense, but you have the defense, and then you have also Jarrett Allen there as well. But the issue that they have faced over the past couple of years is that they just don't have that good wing to connect the two. It's tried to be Isaac Okoro. It's tried to be Max Strus. And those two have been okay. Okoro's really struggled offensively, which is why he's still an NBA free agent. And then Max Strus, I just don't think fits them in terms of their defense as well as size they need at that position. But Dorian Finney-Smith, who's one of the best point-of-attack defenders in the NBA on the wing, and someone who can hit his open threes off the catch, which there will be a lot of those opportunities due to Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell drawing such a crowd when they get downhill. I think this is exactly what Cleveland needs to potentially make a small and marginal improvement to their team, but raise their ceiling because now they get a guy that they can go stick on a Paul George, go stick on a Mikal Bridges, a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, because they don't have anyone on that roster right now that can go out and defend someone on the wing like Dorian Finney-Smith could. Final Bleacher Report trade idea we're talking about. Another Bull, Ayo Dosunmu, going to the Milwaukee Bucks. This one is definitely on the not a blockbuster scale, but Dosunmu ends up going to Milwaukee here, and the Bucks give up Pat Connaughton and a 2031 first-round pick swap, Dosunmu is an interesting player. I also don't think the Bulls would do this. Like, Dosunmu's fine. Like, he's nothing crazy, but a first-round pick swap in 2031, like, maybe they'd bet on the Bulls being better than the Bucks in 2031. Not sure about that. Also, Pat Connaughton is a non-mover. I think I'd rather just stick with Ayo Dosunmu and see if he can continue to blossom in the NBA. That's kind of my take on it. I don't think Dosunmu to the Bucks makes a lot of sense for Chicago. I do like it for Milwaukee, though, getting a young backup point guard to help with Damian Lillard. All right, you saw the 5 trade ideas. Zach LaVine to the Lakers, Kawhi Leonard to the Warriors, Anfernee Simons to the Magic, Dorian Finney-Smith to the Cavs, and then Ayo Dosunmu to the Milwaukee Bucks. Which trade was your favorite? 1 at the top between Zach LaVine, 5 being at the bottom for Ayo Dosunmu. Let me know which trade was your favorite down in the comment section. All right, that will do it for this episode of NBA Now. I am Nic Rohloff. Appreciate everyone watching today's show. And if you are still watching here, you obviously like the content that we're bringing you, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. On the road to 380,000 subscribers, year-round NBA coverage. We have a great team here at Chat Sports, so hit that sub button because we're bringing you content on a daily basis.